I've said a lot about the dismissal and I said a lot about combating it, but how exactly do we combat it when we're not being listened to? This isn't a question that I've had on my own. With some research, I found a few organizations that actually it's their goal to help women navigate through these situations and get the help that they need and that they deserve. One organization is the Black Women's Health Imperative, which was one of the first, well, not one, the first nonprofit organization made by Black women to help the improvement of health and wellness for Black women and girls. Now, they have a lot of resources on their website, just first of all addressing the issues. And this website and this imperative really doesn't just talk about dismissal during pregnancy and childbirth, but it looks at a broader aspect and looks at, health and wellness for Black girls as a whole, Black girls and women as a whole, and it tries to spread knowledge about it. Their mission statement is to solve the most critical issues that Black women and girls face through innovation programs, transformative research, and life-saving policies. They actually are trying to enforce things to help this dismissal end. And on this, they have a bunch of different programs and supports that any Black woman or girl can rely on, whether they're pregnant or not, but just in general. Another organization is the Shades of Blue Project, and their mission statement is to change the way women are currently being diagnosed and treated after giving birth and experiencing any adverse maternal mental health outcome. Now, this organization is more focused on pregnancy, and something that they implement, which they have on their website, is ARS. And basically it means to acknowledge, respect, and support. And basically this initiative is to change the way that our healthcare system works, not just for Black women, but for all people, all patients, whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, no matter what you're going through, whether it's pregnancy or whether it's just things related to your health in general. And then something that the Shades of Blue Project also has on their website is just a list of support groups that are in person or virtually, and they are expanding their project and it's reaching different areas. I know it's mostly based more so down south, but with enough support, I know that they could probably have in-person support groups anywhere and everywhere. So the Shades of Blue Project also has resources to expecting mothers, honestly anything you might worry about or you might need. And I feel like it's just really resourceful and helpful to any expecting mother, regardless of your race, but especially the Black woman, because that's more so their target. And they have a lot of good stuff on there. Like, another group is the Black Mamas Matter Alliance, and this is a national network of maternal health initiatives and organizations run by Black women. And there's a lot of information on this. Like, this is a nationwide thing, so you can find resources depending on where you live at. And basically all they want to do is reduce the racial disparities within maternal care. And given the fact that all these stats and statistics are against Black women, we're basically saying that we have a lower chance of basically surviving pregnancy compared to other women in America. I think it's important to utilize all of these sources and all of these initiatives and everything that we can to make sure that we're prepared, and also to acknowledge. And I really like the ARS stand, acknowledge, respect, support. That's something that a lot of Black women can use when they're in these situations where they're being dismissed. It's not wrong to ask for another doctor. It's not wrong to get a second opinion, even if you have to leave where you're comfortable from. The most important thing is that you're healthy, your baby's healthy, and that you survive. So if you feel like you're experiencing something that's life-threatening, you need to raise the roof about it. And not only that, whoever's there with you needs to support you and back you up too. And if you're alone, that's even more reason to use these resources to stay prepared. I know that there's a lot more women ran and run clinics opening up for pregnancy and maternal care, and not only that, but Black women ran and run clinics opening up that I know for a fact will not deny you or disservice you because they've been there. Something that I think is important to talk about while I'm wrapping all this up is what even got me thinking about this or concerned, well, more concerned than any other Black woman about the dismissal of Black women during pregnancy and childbirth. And for me, it all started with, I was just watching a medical show because I'm an aspiring physician. I want to be an OBGYN. This is why I'm tackling this problem, because I want there to be a change and I want to change this. But I was watching it. I was watching, I forget the name, but I'm watching a medical show. And one of the subplots, because in these medical shows, there's a bunch of subplots. One of the subplots in this show was that there's a Black woman, she came in, she was giving birth. Obviously, that's how they started off with. I'm like, oh, like, what's going to happen? Because, it's obvious that something bad's going to happen. She gives birth, it's successful. But then there's a bunch of blood, I guess, coming up and like her bag where basically all her fluids are running into, because like after you give birth, like you're still leaking a little bit. So like they have a bag, it fills up with fluid, and hers was filled with blood. And basically her husband, it's like, hey, like, like, is this normal? I don't think this is fine. And she's there like, okay, like, I'm fine, like, it's okay. Especially after the doctor came, was like, yes, this is normal. But this is like a whole bag full of blood. And he's like, I don't know, like, there's something wrong, I don't know. They go to one of the main characters in the show, and he's like, yeah, I don't think this is normal. So basically, he goes to the doctor that's in charge, and he's telling them, like, hey, like, you need to check this out, you need to look at this, because this isn't normal. And basically, by the time they got to her, she was already in shock. They rushed her to surgery, and she died, because she didn't receive care in time. But like throughout the whole episode, they made it a point to show how the nurses kind of brushed her off as like, oh, she's overreacting, or she's doing too much. Or even the head doctor, he was like, like, it's fine, like, she'll be okay. I see this all the time, like, she's just overreacting, like, this is nothing. And after that, I'm just like, wow, like, that episode stuck with me, like, so much. And before that episode, what I was thinking about, I was really into gynecology. I'm like, I was definitely in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna be a gynecologist, like, hands down, I would love to be a gynecologist. But then after that episode, and just after hearing so much about this episode that Black people are experiencing and learning about the shortage of OBGYNs, it just pushed me in the direction to want to become an OBGYN. And when I was asked to present an assignment or present a problem within my career field or my major, this was something that I knew immediately I was going to do. But that story stuck up with me. It stuck with me for so long. And I remember at the end of the episode, it showed that it was actually based and inspired by a story about a true person. And, I had to go back, had to look it up, had to see, like, who this woman was and, like, what happened to her. And now that I went back and looked at my notes. I remember the show's called The Resident, and I used to love that show. I just love medical shows. But I remember at the end, I had to go back. I had to go look up the show, look up the episode, and then after that, I looked up the woman's name. Her name was Kira Johnson, and she was a healthy woman, hands down. She ate healthy, she had a healthy lifestyle, exercising, all of that. But when her and her husband Charles went to the hospital to give birth to their second child, she was dismissed and they weren't heard, even after her husband kept on advocating for her. By the time that they actually listened, it was too late, and they tried to save her, but they couldn't. So then from that, her husband went on to create her husband Charles went on to create the For Cure for Mom nonprofit organization to not only share her story, but to share resources and to advocate for a change. And even to this day on their website, there's information, there's facts, there's statistics. Actually, I just saw that they're planning a march to advocate for maternal health in March. And I feel like her story, not only does it shed light on the real and true experience of so many different Black women, but because it inspired me so much, I'm just hoping that it'll inspire others too, to advocate and to educate other people on the effects of dismissal of Black women during pregnancy and childbirth. And I know I didn't mention it before, but the baby is okay. The baby was fine. The baby survived, but that baby left the hospital without his mom, and they had another kid back at home. So, like his mom was there one day, and then the next day she was just gone. And that's honestly the reality that a lot of people are living through, especially people who have lost their loved one to postpartum complications, But I feel like one of the biggest thing in tackling this problem, which is why I'm even making these videos to begin with, is spreading awareness about it. A lot of people, like I said, a lot of Black women, they know about these hard truths. They know about the dismissal that we face within the medical system. But just hearing about it, maybe just having it confirmed by somebody else, or even opening up the discussions amongst yourself, amongst your peers, amongst your family, just really pushing for a change and advocating, maybe we just see a little improvement and we can see more mothers coming home with their babies. And this isn't something that it's just going to miraculously happen. It's not something that's going to miraculously change, because the underlying issue with the dismissal for Black women in pregnancy and childbirth is the discrimination that we face, the racism that we faced within the medical system, within the systems that we live in, within the society that we live in. And changing our racist system is going to take a lot more, unfortunately, than just advocating. But advocating for this and advocating for change not only is going to make more people more aware, but we can also fight the bias that's living within our medical system. And we could push for more people other than Black people to be concerned or aware of this problem. Because I know for a fact, if I go and I tell a random white lady on the street about all these facts and all these statistics, she's going to be shocked. Maybe not so surprised, but at least shocked to hear that the numbers are so large and the disparities are so evident. And just spreading awareness and making people aware, making your family aware, using the resources that we have, using For Cure for Moms, using the Shades of Blue Project, using all of these organizations that have resources out to not only help but support Black women during pregnancy. That is a good step towards changing and lowering the rates of dismissal that Black women face during pregnancy and childbirth. And that's really my goal, and it's something that I'm going to work on and something I'm going to advocate for as I move through and I move up in the medical world, hopefully. Well, I really hope I do. And something I'm going to keep on advocating for throughout the rest of my experience and probably the rest of my life, because I just think it's so unfortunate how bringing a life into this world can be so much harder than it already is. There's already so much risk of being pregnant and giving birth, and just this added risk of just being Black. It's unfortunate and it's disheartening, especially for me, somebody who wants to be a mom. It's like, what if the system doesn't change? What if, on top of being worried about my baby, on top of being worried about all the other things going on in my life at the time, I also have to be worried about whether or not the doctors are going to dismiss me, or whether or not I can properly advocate to not only protect my life, but protect my child's life. And if I have more kids at home, making sure that I get back to them at the end of the day. So yeah, thank you for watching my videos. Comment, subscribe, share, all that. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed that video and found it helpful. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe.